you, it's Kyla hair in my mouth. Hey you, it's Kyla Lou, and today I'm gonna break down all the things that you can do within the ClickFunnels page editor. This is the really fun stuff. So let's get into it. Okay, here we are in our sales funnel, and to edit a page within your sales funnel, you're gonna go down here to the very big yellow button that says edit page, and we're gonna click on that. Okay, here we are in the first page of our sales funnel, and you guys can see I already have a template selected for this page. And so what I can go in and do is go in and customize this for my branding, but I'm gonna walk you through kind of the fundamentals of what makes up the ClickFunnels editor so you can understand and create pages really easily. So the first thing to understand is that ClickFunnels pages are made up of sections, rows, columns, and elements, okay? And once you can kind of understand these, understanding how to edit a page in ClickFunnels is going to make so much more sense. First, we have sections. Now, if I hover my mouse over this area, you can see the green border are my sections. So this is a section, this one right here is a section. If I hover over this, you can see this whole thing is a section, and we've got a different section here. So those are all sections. And one thing that's really important to know is everything that you build within your funnel pages has to be contained within a funnel section. So you can't build anything outside of the funnel sections. Everything has to be built within them. So for example, let's take this top section right here, okay? You can see this top section doesn't take up the entire page. So right now it's wide. If I click on the settings on this section, you can see that it's wide. And right now I can't add anything outside of this section. So if I wanted to try and add more things in this section that took up the entire page, I can make this full page, and you can see when I hover over this section, now you can see that green bar fills up the entire page versus just being wide. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're wanting to fill up the space, it has to be done within a section. And now actually is a really great time for me to talk about these tools on the right-hand side, and this is going to apply for sections, rows, and elements, okay? So across the board. So if I hover over this little gear icon, that is gonna be our settings. So if I click on that there, I'm gonna be able to access all the settings for this particular section. Next is clone. So if I click on this, it's going to clone an exact copy of that section, and I can do with it what I want. Then we have the save. So if I click on the save, this is going to allow me to save this section as a template. So let's say I wanted to put this logo at the top of every single one of my funnel pages. I can go ahead and save this as a section. So let's say I wanted to do logo, okay? I'm gonna save section. So if I go up here to add section, I'm gonna click on that. And then instead of dragging one of these into the funnel, which you can do, you're gonna go over to my sections, and you can see right here at the top, I have my saved template. And if I click on this and drag it over, you can see there's the third template and my saved section. And then the last one is the delete. So I'm gonna click on that. ClickFunnels always asks if you want to delete something, so that's very nice. So I'm gonna click OK, and we're gonna delete this bottom one. Perfect. And let's make this section back to wide. So that's really nice. What I am going to do is I am going to add a section in here just for an example, so I can kind of build this out so you guys can see the different areas. One thing that's nice within the sections to pay attention to is you can change the background color of a section. So this BG color right here, if I click on that and let's say I change this to blue, you can see I can change the background of just this section. And now let me explain how I got this background image to the rest of this funnel. So regardless of what the section is, I don't have to go through each section and add in an image. What you can do is go over here to settings, and if you click on background, and right here where it says BG image, this link right here is this wood background. So you can do that for the entire funnel, but if you wanted some different sections with different backgrounds or things like that, that is done within the individual section settings. And now if you're looking at different sections and you're trying to hover over it and you can't access the settings very easily, what you can do is go into sections and click on manage. And if I hover over these different sections, you can see it highlights it there on the page, and I can go ahead and click on this and edit the settings in there. So if you're having a hard time hovering over and clicking on the settings, you can do that from the manage button. Next, we have rows. So rows are going to be blue bordered. So you can see right here, if I hover over this, this is a row, as well as this is a row, and rows are where you're going to be able to add your elements. So rows go within sections and elements go within rows. So let me kind of show you guys this with our example up here at the top. So here I have got a section, and if I hover over this blank area, you can see add a new row. So if I click on this add new row, you can see I have different columns that I can choose from. For example, I can pick a 1 column, and this is gonna allow me to add things in the very center of the page. If I click on add a new row here, I can add things like 3 columns, and I can add different elements in each of these columns. But if I try and add, let me add in a section here really quick. So this is my section. I don't have any rows in there. If I try and add an element into this section, you can see it doesn't work. And depending on how many columns you choose, that will depend on how many elements you can add in that particular row. Now, when it comes to columns, if you're dealing with rows more than 1 column, that is where this columns tab is going to come in very handy. So for example, if I had a row with 2 columns here, okay, so I've got my 2, let's delete these right here so we can just focus on this one. I have these 2 areas here, but let's say on this particular side, on the left side, I wanted to change the background. Just like what I talked about with these sections. With rows, you can go into the settings, you can change the background color there, but that just changes the background color for the entire row. But let's say for this column, I wanted it to be a different color. That's where this tab comes in. So if you click on columns here, you can see this section here, the very first section, I have first column, second column. So you can see if I hover over it with my mouse, it's gonna outline it with a dark blue border. I can click on this edit button, and now I'm dealing with the settings for the first column. Now, if I wanna go in and change the background color, I can do that there for just that one side. That's what's really nice. If you click on this columns page, that's what's gonna allow you to edit things within individual columns if you have rows with more than 1 column. And last but certainly not least, we have elements. So elements are going to be orange in color. So you can see right here, this is an element, that's an element there, that's another element. So right now what I would love to do is kind of show you guys how to use some of the 5 most common elements that I use and that I've seen other people use. There's a ton of different elements. So if you click here and add element, you can see there's a ton of elements to choose from that you can drag and drop into your funnel page. I do want to mention really quick, you can see this section here that says order elements. You're only going to be able to see this on an order form, okay? So on a page that is not meant to, take someone's credit card and that they can buy products from, you will not be able to add these elements. So let's say you chose a page that was meant to collect leads. You will not be able to add in any of these credit card elements into the page. That's what that is there. So this allows you to collect the credit card information. You can see that down here. That's what all of that is. But let me kind of walk you through some of the 5 most common elements that I see. The first one is going to be a headline. So I'm going to click this in here. Actually, the best way to see a headline, let's do the 1 column here. And click add new element. Let's drag in this headline. Perfect. There is a headline. So let's get rid of this row right there. I'm just going to delete it. So this is our headline. I can go ahead and type anything that I want by double clicking on it, or I can copy and paste something in and add a headline in there. So super easy. If you want to edit the text of this headline, we're going to go into the settings of this element, and you can change the font right here. You can change the size by dragging this. You can do the mobile size, which I'll talk about in a sec. You've got the color of the text, bold color. So if you hover over this element and you click on it once, it's now going to give you the option to bold, italicize, underline. You can change the bold color, the background color of this element. And if you go into advanced, it's going to give you some things there, which is really nice. The second most common element that I see is an image. So I'm going to go down here and let's add in an image. So there's our demo image. To add in an image into your funnel, you're gonna go again into your settings, and right here where you see the little picture, this is where you can either drag and drop an image to upload, or you can pick one of your images and upload it in there. So you can see there's an image. If this image is really big and I wanna try and change it, you can mess with the width and type in different pixels. So that's 200. I usually don't mess with the height very much because you can see if I add in the height, it kind of messes up the image. But you can do that there. You have some different advanced features that you can check out, but that is how you add an image. The next element is a video. So if I go down here, you can add in a video. Perfect. So if we go into settings here, you want to choose the video type. So typically that's going to be YouTube or Vimeo. So if I click on YouTube here, let me go over to my YouTube channel and get a video link. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click share, copy this link, And right here is where I'm gonna paste that URL. So you can do some things here, autoplay, controls, meaning they can pause or play the video. And then you can go into advanced. If this video is really big, you can go in and do 3/4 width or half width, which is nice. Now on the editing screen, you will not be able to see the video. So right here, I can't see the video, but what I am going to make sure I tell you guys is as you're editing, make sure you save your funnel. So up here in the top right, make sure you save. ClickFunnels does not automatically save things for you, so you have to do that manually. So click on save up here at the top so it saves your updates. And if you go over here into preview, this is where you're gonna be able to see what your customers are gonna see. And now you can see, I can now see the video. But on the editing screen, it does not show that, but as long as you have a link in there, you know that the video is going to work. So that's how you do a video. The fourth most common element that I see is a button, okay? So let's go ahead, add a new element in here. Let's find our button. There it is. I'm just gonna click on that. So you can go ahead and customize your button. One thing that is a little bit funky, so with the headlines, I can click on this and just start typing. With the button, if you want to change the text of the button, you need to go into the settings and you can change that right there. So you can type in there, you can add in some subtext. What am I saying? So there you go, you can see that below there. You can change the font of the button, the size, the subtext size, different things. You can change the background color of the button, all of that good stuff, right? We want to make sure that we can see it. Oh, and if I change it to white, I can go ahead and hair to the text color, change that there. So that's how you edit the look of the button. But one of the most important things is how the button actually works. And I thought this was very confusing when I first got started, so I want to explain it to you guys. It is the action of the button. So you can see below the button, there is a warning. Button action is not set. So anytime you add in a new button, that is going to be there. That just means this button does not have a purpose. So to give that button a purpose, we're gonna click on this set action and we've got a couple things that we can do, okay? So the first one is submit the order or submit the form. So this is the only action that is actually going to submit information. So if you are collecting leads, credit card information, you wanna click on this because that's what's actually going to submit the information. And one thing that's really important to know is once it submits it, it is going to take your customers to the next page in the funnel, okay? So right here, that's what I think confuses people is you can see this go to next step in funnel, but basically if they don't have anything that they are trying to like input that you don't want to collect anything from them, then you're going to click on go to next step in funnel. But if you want to collect anything from them, you want to do submit order or submit form. Then we have open the pop-up. If I wanted them to click on this and let's say I had my order form on the pop-up or a place where they could input their email on the pop-up just so it wasn't on the page, you can do that there, and I'm going to show you how to edit the pop-up in just a second. Then you have go to website URL. So you can go ahead and add in a website link. So let's say I wanted to add in an affiliate link here. So I was promoting products from Nike, let's say, and on my funnel page, I had a whole video showing people how to put on Nike shoes. So I would then wanted to take them to an affiliate link. So it wasn't in my direct funnel. You can go ahead and add the link in there. Make sure that you delete this £sign or hashtag sign. I don't know why ClickFunnels adds that in there, but you want to make sure you delete it. And then you can select open in the same window, meaning if they click on the button, it's going to open it in the same tab or open in a new tab/window. Go to next step in funnel. This does not submit your form. So if you have anything that you want them to submit, do not click this. You can go to scroll to row or section on page. So let's say you just had one really long page and up at the top you had, either a menu bar or you click on this to get to this section and you had it all on one page. So they didn't have to scroll down it themselves. It just scrolls it for you. So then you can select which section or row you want to pick there. And then we have show or hide actions. So you can show these elements, hide these. I have not ever used this, but that is one of the actions you can do for your button. So that's important to note there. And then one of the last elements that I thought were pretty common that people use is the input. So let's go ahead and find that there. So this is where people can either add in their email address. If I click on the settings, you can do, full name, first name, last name, email address, phone number, address, city, state, country, all of these things, you can do that there. You can change the text for this input right there. You can make it required or not required, and you can change some of the advanced settings. So those are the 5 most common elements that I see, but obviously you can see here that there's a lot of different elements. So I would highly recommend going in and exploring all of those elements and the different things there. Next, what I want to show you guys, I'm going to save this. This is your friendly reminder. Don't forget to save your funnel. And again, if you want to preview what this looks like and what your customers are going to see, click on the preview page, all of that good stuff. Now I want to show you guys the settings for the funnel page. Up here at the top, we have settings. I'm going to walk through these pretty quickly, but first we have integrations. So let's say you want to collect someone's email address, but you have a separate email automation software that you want to be able to connect. So I'm going to have a separate video on how to do this if you're collecting email addresses that are going to a separate email automation software. But basically, this is where you set this up. So you have the integration. So I integrated ActiveCampaign with ClickFunnels. It took like 30 seconds, super easy. So I click that. You can add an action. So typically that's going to be add to a list. So I already have a list set up in my ActiveCampaign. You can see I have all my lists here. So if I click on this, now you can see it's integrated. And when they input their email address on this funnel page, it's going to add them to that list in my ActiveCampaign. Next, we have the SEO metadata. And this is where you can set up your page for SEO. So you can name your page, the description of your page, keywords, author, social image. So all of those things, you can see that example displayed there. That's where you can change that. And this is what's going to display at the top of the tab when people are on your funnel page. So for example, if they're on this funnel page now, it's going to say foodie 2-step order form. So you might want to change it so it doesn't say that, or you can leave it as is. Next, we have the tracking code. So this is for tracking pixels for ads. So this is mainly going to be for Facebook, so you can add that in there. Next, we have a Facebook pixel specifically, so you can add that in there and connect that. Then we have custom CSS. So if you want to do a little bit more design, you want to add in some more cool things, you can add that custom CSS in here. And I actually have a few videos on my channel just sharing with you guys some really basic CSS that's super easy, even if you're non-techie, because I'm not a coder by any means. So you guys can check those out. I'll link those down below. Then we have the background. So I was talking about this at the beginning of the video. If you want to add in a background image for the entire funnel, you can do that there, and you can change the image position, or you can just make one background color for the entire funnel. So if you didn't want to add in an image, you can do the background color there. Or if you wanted to add a background in your funnel, you can do that there. I have a video showing you how to do that. Next, we have typography. So this makes it so you can have consistent branding, and it's going to save you time. So if you know like what font you want for the content and what fonts you want for your headlines, you can add those in here. And when you go in and add in a headline in ClickFunnels, it's going to automatically default to this. And then the last thing to pay attention to, okay, let's go out of that, is the general. So on submit, go to. So let's say you wanted them to submit a button, and on the next page, you wanted them to go to this link instead of the next page in your funnel. You can do that there. You can add in any digital assets. You can do the affiliate badge. You can show or hide it. I do talk about that in, I believe, video number 2 of this series. So you can check that out. And you can select if you want it to show up or hide in search engines. So basically, if this is meant to be a public page, you're sending leads to this page, you can show this in search engines. But basically, if you're creating a funnel that people can only get to once they've paid for it, like a membership page or anything like that, you don't want them to be able to search it in Google or wherever and for it to show up. So then in that case, you would want to hide it. Last, you can save this page as a template. So if you create a pretty general template that you want to use for every page of this particular funnel, you can save this as a template and use it for that, which is really great. There's 2 more things that I want to cover. So first, let's talk about this pop-up. So again, you guys remember when you are creating your buttons, one of the actions is that it can open up the pop-up. So if you want to create a pop-up for your page, you're going to do that by clicking on this. So you can do show pop-up or edit settings. I'm going to click on edit settings, and here's our pop-up. You do not have to use a pop-up if you don't want to. They can be kind of cool, catch people's attention. What's really nice is, let's see, where is it? If you go into advanced, oh, right here. So in settings, trigger on exit. So you can do, when the user tries to exit, you can have the pop-up show up. So it can try and grab their attention so they don't leave the page or don't show on exit. And then you can edit it here. You can add a background image for your pop-up. You can do the width of the pop-up, the backdrop, background color, text color, all of those things. And you're going to add in rows and elements like you do on the page. And the pop-up is basically like one giant section. So I can add in different columns here. You can see if I had 6 mini columns, and then I can add elements within those columns, and then you want to make sure that you save and you can exit out of that. Now the last thing that I want to show you guys is how to edit your funnel for desktop and mobile, because having your funnels mobile optimized is really important. A lot of people are going to be looking at your funnel from their phone. So the best way to do that is up here at the top, you can see I'm looking at the desktop mode. If I want to look at the mobile mode, you can see I can check that out here, what it's going to look like on the phone. If I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, that text really does not look good on mobile compared to desktop. Let's change this text color to white so I don't go crazy. There we go. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this really doesn't look that great. One of the most important things to remember is if you go here into settings, you're like, oh, I'm gonna change the font size. Don't do that, because it's going to change the font size on the desktop. And if you've made everything look great on desktop and you go into mobile and you start editing things, it's gonna mess it all up. And so what you wanna do is where it says mobile size, this is where you're going to edit the font. So let's say I go here to 30, I make it a lot smaller. This is going to make it smaller for mobile, but it's not going to affect anything on desktop, which is really nice. So that's great. Make sure you do that for buttons and inputs and text, making sure that you edit the mobile size here instead of the actual font size. Now, the last thing that's important to remember or to pay attention to when it comes to mobile and desktop is you can make certain sections just desktop or just mobile. Right here we have this section. Down here at the bottom, it is automatically defaulted to all. So whatever you have on desktop, it's going to put it in the mobile. But if you wanted certain sections for mobile, or the way the images were, you had to readjust it for mobile versus desktop, you can do this here. So what I like to do, okay, is I will clone this section. So now I have 2 here, and you can see if I go back to desktop, it's cloned it. Then what I'm gonna do is whichever one I want, top or bottom, I'm gonna go into the settings and click on mobile only. So now you can see that little red mobile only shows up. So if I go into desktop, I only have 1 now. Then I have to go into the second one here on mobile, and I'm gonna make it desktop only. And you can see right here, if I move my mouse, it says desktop only. So now I can edit this as much as I want. I can change the text, I can delete things, and it's not going to affect the mobile version. So you can do that for different settings. So you can do this for elements. You can see mobile or desktop only. You can do this for rows and sections. So that's something that is really nice and helps you create that mobile versus desktop. If you want to see the pop-up in mobile, let's see. Yep, you just open up the pop-up on desktop, click on mobile, and you can see what the pop-up's gonna look like on the phone. So that's just really nice there. So that's the basics when it comes to editing your funnel page. Now, before you go, if you're wanting to have success with ClickFunnels, one of the best resources I can recommend are the secrets books from the man himself, Russell Brunson. I've been building funnels for almost 4 years now and continue to turn back to these books for guidance. If you want to learn why everybody can't stop talking about sales funnels, then .com Secrets is for you. .com Secrets is the nitty-gritty of what makes a funnel successful. If you want to learn how to find your voice and share your message with the world, then Expert Secrets is going to be for you. This one is probably my favorite out of the 3 because it helps guide you on how to share your message, a message that has the ability to change someone's life. And if you want to not only get traffic, but the right traffic, I'm talking the people you absolutely love to work with, aka your dream customers, then Traffic Secrets is gonna be your book. Traffic, you guys, is the lifeblood of business. And while traffic is just people, Traffic Secrets is gonna help you find your people. The craziest part is that these books are free. All you do is cover shipping. If you order each one of these books separately, you're gonna receive 5 additional bonuses that are unique to every single book.
Is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. only I can make.
Or you can buy the trilogy set together, and while you're gonna miss out on those additional bonuses, you will receive the 614-page exclusive workbook, Unlock the Secrets, for free. You can click on the link down below to order your copy or copies today, and just like Russell says, remember, you're just one funnel away. Bye, dudes.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die.